Hello and welcome to episode 2 of our West Ham career mode. It might not be as realistic as some of my other career modes on this channel, but it's definitely one of the most fun. I'm really enjoying playing every single match, and we've got a bunch more games in today's episode, starting with a nice trip up north all the way to Newcastle. So Newcastle, as in real life, of course, have a massive budget on career mode. Let's have a look at some of the players that they've signed. Well, it all starts with a new look back four where they've got Clinton Mata, Wesley Fofana and Wijnaldum all in there. Joey Veerman and Benacer have joined in midfield, and Ismaila Sarr and Paul Ebere Onuachu playing up front. It's a very career mode style team with lots of pace on the wings, a massive target man. I think he's like 6'7", of course, the big African striker. It was going to be tough for us, but we did have Araujo and Aguerd, who are both very good in the air. Our first chance came after 12 minutes, Scamacca getting played through one-on-one. In the form that he's in, he's never going to miss a one-on-one chance like that. Maybe he's taken the piss a little bit there by doing a sue against the Saudi Arabian-owned club, where of course Ronaldo is now playing. But it is very important in our away matches to try and get as many points as you want. Really, you want to win all of your home matches and get at least a draw in every single away match. So winning one is basically 3 bonus points. Shots like that from Scamacca though aren't going to win you any games. Onuachu proved that he isn't just a target man there. Using his strength and a bit of ball control, he did actually help fashion this chance. I think that was actually a better chance than St. Maximin probably realised, and it probably should have been equalised. Onuachu wouldn't miss when he had a chance just a few minutes later though. He was stood basically on the penalty spot when he decided to smash one in straight past Areola and make it 1-1. Half-time came and went, so now it's time for the second half. Galeno is running through on goal. Can he cut inside? No, he plays it across the Scamacca, and I think that's a 6th goal of the season in 4 games for Scamacca. What a season he's having so far. Of course, with the pace of St. Maximin and Ismaila Sarr and the massive height of Onuachu in the middle, you can't really write off Newcastle just yet. 5 minutes after we scored our second goal, it was Newcastle's turn to score theirs and equalise to make the game 2-2. Onuachu with another volley, and unfortunately for us, we were back level at St. James's Park. Ronaldo would get the ball out on the wing. He would play it through to St. Maximin. He had Onuachu in the middle, but he found Willock instead with a third volley from very close into the goal. Newcastle were all of a sudden ahead. We did manage to injure Willock, but this time it was Scamacca being the playmaker. Musiala threw a goal, really should have scored that. When you're one-on-one and you have the stats that Musiala does, you really should be scoring goals when they're that easily. We would win the ball just as the game was going to end. I think we could have probably countered and had one last chance, but the ref blew his whistle, and that was that. We had lost 3-2 to Newcastle despite being ahead 1-0 and 2-1. Let's just have a quick look at who's playing really well for us in this season so far. I think you guys said that Scamacca was player of the episode in episode 1, and you can see that he isn't actually the highest rated player for us on average. That is actually Galeno, but there's a combination. Galeno, Otavio and Scamacca are super crucial, as is Calvin Phillips in defence, and of course as is Ronald Araujo. If any of those 5 players got injured, I think we really would struggle to get any kind of results. But it's time for Forest against West Ham. Forest, of course, being the team that I support, so this was a pretty important one for me. I don't like beating them, but also we did need the points. Let's have a look at the team we're putting out. It's Otavio, Galeno and Scamacca up front, Musiala, Paqueta and Phillips in midfield, and the defence is staying the same. Forest team is pretty interesting as well. They still have mostly the same team that they have in real life. However, they have got 6'5" Frenchman in Ayorke up front, who is going to, of course, be a similar threat to Onuachu. Scamacca really could have put us 1-0 up after 12 minutes there. Instead, he decided to try and chip the goalkeeper, and it was intercepted by the Forest defence. A long shot came to nothing, but it was proof that we could basically make chances whenever we wanted in this game. Some good trickery from Otavio found Galeno, and Scamacca overpowered Joe Worrell to get into the box. 1-on-1, he tried to shoot near post. He probably could have pulled that back and we might have had a better chance of scoring, but yet again, another shot for West Ham. This time it was Galeno mixing it up with Scamacca. Through 1-on-1, he scored loads of these this year, but a save from Butes keeps it 0-0 and keeps Forest in the game. The big man Ayorke and the slightly smaller man Awoniyi linked up. Gibbs White would give it to Yates. Yates, very low flair in real life, but would get a back heel across the Gibbs White, and with their first and only shot of the game, Forest would go 1-0 up. Nothing would really happen for the next half an hour. We'd have a couple of chances, but nothing that's really worth showing. Our next chance would really be around the hour mark. After 65 minutes, we'd get the ball out wide to Cornet. A low cross looked like it could have been a bit of a mix-up with Joe Worrell and the goalkeeper, but unfortunately for us, nothing would be coming from that. Delaney would be involved in the next play as well. Scamacca getting through one-on-one yet again, and this time the shot, he just couldn't get the ball out of his feet, and it was a really tame shot straight at the goalkeeper. Areola would do a nice save after about 80 minutes, and for the last 10 minutes it was all West Ham. We'd brought on Thorgan Hazard to play in midfield. He found Joe Gelhardt. He had the pace to get around Niakate. He tried to get the ball across, but unfortunately the mix-up just about stayed out of the Forest net yet again. With 30 seconds left, Forest would have the last attack. It was easy enough for us to defend. We would get the ball back, but we wouldn't have time to have an attack of our own. So we would actually end up losing at home to Forest, a team that only had 2 shots to our 15. So it was a dreadful result for us, really. You can see why some of the players are looking angry on the pitch. But with finishing like we had in that game, we really should have won. It was down to our own fault. It wasn't the game being annoying. It wasn't a cheated win or anything. It was just us finishing being absolutely trash. So this was an easy game for us to come back at. Playing against League One Walsall with a Premier League squad. We rotated quite a bit. Festi Ebasele got a nice game. We had Cornet, Bino Gittins, a player we've recently signed in the transfer window, also starting his first game as a right winger. There was a big chance for some of these players to actually get some Premier League minutes if they performed well in this game. Bino Gittins was the one I was the most excited about, so when he went down after 3 minutes I feared the worst. Thankfully he got up, took the free kick, and the first chance came after just 4 minutes. It was a good start for us, honestly. We did have some nice early chances, but not only were we the best team, but Walsall were basically trying to give us goals. I mean, look at that, they've passed it straight to us from a goal kick, and somehow we haven't scored a one-on-one. Gelhardt really does need to work on his finishing. Bino Gittins would pull it across for Cornet, whose finishing is just fine though. Straight into the corner after 11 minutes, 1-0. At this point, we're just trying to decide how many goals we're going to score. Clearly, it's going to be a very, very easy game. Look at that, straight through the goalkeeper's legs. What a finish that was from Cornet. I didn't quite appreciate it from the first angle, but what a good finish that is. Bino Gittins would get the ball out wide. He'd do a bit of trickery. He would just leave his man for dead. Play it to Gelhardt. He'd get the ball back. Bino Gittins shooting from a weird angle. Maybe he just wants that first goal. Well, he hasn't got it on that occasion. Walsall would have some attacks of their own though, don't get me wrong. It wasn't fully one-sided. That was probably their best one of the first half, but nothing they could create was anything like this ball from Bino Gittins. I mean, what a cross. It's perfectly weighted. It's the perfect speed, perfect height. And Lucas Paquetá is exactly where he needs to be. On the volley, straight into the back of the net. What a goal. I really enjoyed scoring that one. Gelhardt would get another chance to score in this game. He missed that one-on-one earlier, and he missed this one-on-one as well. It's finishing like this that makes me really hope Scamacca does not get injured for this entire season, because if he does, we might really struggle to score goals, especially when we're making chances like that. Some shocking defending for us did leave Walsall to teach us a lesson on how to finish though. I mean, from that position, that angle, and that speed, he's found the exact right point to score where the goalkeeper has absolutely no chance. We did the same though. Finally Gelhardt did get his goal. Another pullback. It might not be the most interesting goal to watch, but it was an effective way to score, especially against a low league team where we just need to make sure we get through. With some subs, and in the last 2 minutes Bino Gittins would get through one-on-one, and finally we would score one and Bino Gittins would get his first goal for West Ham United. Great finish as well. It meant the score was 4-1, the game was pretty much over, and we'd done basically what we'd imagined we'd do before the game started. I think 4-1 is a decent result. 4-0 probably would be a bit more like what we were expecting, but you know, you can't always get a clean sheet, especially against a team like Walsall, who have apparently one of the most lethal outside-the-box finishes on the game. But the fans were loving it. There was selfies in the crowd to remember the time West Ham beat Walsall in the W Derby. It might not have been clear absolutely how much we dominated Walsall, but look at the XG here, 7.2 to 0.7. We really did deserve the big win. Now it's time to play yet another London club. There's a lot of them in the Premier League. You might not realise it until you get all the derby cutscenes by playing FIFA career mode, but here we go. We were going to Chelsea, we were going to Stamford Bridge. They've got an interesting team. They've got Berardi, Lukaku's back up front, Sterling. They've got Ben Yedder as well. A lot of very good players, but of course we have some very good players of our own. We were glad we gave some of our first 11 some fitness in that last game by bringing them on for the last 20 to 30 minutes, because they were all going to be back in the squad for this one. But as they're the home team, it's the Chelsea squad we'll look at first. So they have Lukaku at front, Berardi, Sterling, Kante, Havertz, Rudiger's returned, Savic at centre-back. This was going to be a very tough team to break down with players like that. I believe their manager is still Thomas Tuchel as well, so it's going to be a defensive counter-attack style play from Chelsea. Fabio Grosso is well aware what it's like to play against Chelsea, of course, playing against them in the Champions League with Braga in the last season of this career mode. Check out the playlist if you haven't already seen all of those episodes. But it was going to be a very tough game, and hopefully one that we could maybe scrape a 1-0 or a 1-1 against the Chelsea away. Lukaku would have the first chance using his left foot to blast a power shot from quite far out, just over the bar. Aguerd would steal the ball though from Berardi, he'd give it to Paqueta, and all of a sudden we were through. Galeno has quite a lot of pace, but Scamacca has the strength. Rudiger, however, has the pace and the strength. That's the kind of thing that we're dealing with here. So they've got Koulibaly and Savic, who are both monsters. They're both really strong, really good at positioning. And then they have Rudiger, who's really strong, really fast, and really good at positioning. It was an absolutely insane back three to be playing against. They're all really good defenders as well. So we were really going to have to be our absolute best. This is one of the occasions where having a tall striker probably won't do too much. But it was actually Musiala who would win the header against Koulibaly. So surely if Musiala can win a header, then absolutely Scamacca can if we get the cross exactly spot on. But Kero would win the ball. You might have heard his scream right there as Raheem Sterling tried to snap his leg. It's not really what you expect from the England international winger, but it's a justified red card, and all of a sudden it was West Ham playing against 10 men. Areola thought he could get to the ball before Lukaku, but he couldn't, and then Lukaku did probably the best pass of all time, straight onto Kante's chest, who would then volley it home into an empty net. It did look a little bit like a handball on the replay. I'm not sure how he would have chested it any otherwise, but you can probably blame that on the keeper charge and Areola for coming out when he was blatantly never going to get to the ball. However, against 10 men, we still probably were the favourites to get at least a point from this game. Galeno would outrun the defence, he would try and pull it back to Scamacca. It worked so well against Walsall, doing little pullbacks like that, but no chance against Chelsea. Their defenders actually know how to defend. But Hazard would come on for us, he would play it out wide, and through to Scamacca we'd get the ball yet again. This time he probably could have pulled it across, but didn't. He went for the shot, and Mendy well saved it in that occasion. You can see at the top there, Chelsea having a lot more passes than us. We were going full counter-attack though. Gelhardt coming on, he hadn't had the best finishing in the last match, but somehow I think that one was even worse. He just stomped on the floor rather than swinging his boot at it. I'm not sure entirely what he was doing. We'd keep the ball in, but that would be it. 1-0 to Chelsea, and West Ham had lost another Premier League match. So I think that's 3 in a row, Newcastle, Forest and Chelsea. But there was some good news right here. Our scout had found a player called Ethan Keegan. Not sure if he's any relation to Kevin Keegan, possibly. He's definitely a winger like Keegan was. But I think if we develop him just right, we could have an Irish talent dominating the left wing of the Premier League. And let's, for Ireland's sake, hope that he isn't another Jack Grealish and doesn't just become English. But thank you all for watching this episode. In the next episode, we'll have this match right here playing against Aston Villa. And believe me, they have one of the most ridiculous squads I have ever seen in career mode. They've got Calvert-Lewin, they've got Eden Hazard, they've got Coutinho, of course, they've got some really good defenders too. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you soon for the next video. Thank you and goodbye.